Lin Hao, you have to take the firewood in the universe if you don't accept this mission. If you don't go to the Black Hole Space Station to die, who will go? Just like you, staying in the base will also cost oxygen. In the control room, the voice of the team leader Luo Ke came harshly from the communication device, carrying unconcealed ridicule. I gritted my teeth and held the operating rod of the flying boat tightly, without saying a word. Washing firewood? Send to death? I've heard this more than 100 times. From the first day I joined the exploration team, I have never been rarely laughed at by these so-called elites. I, Lin Hao, are 23 years old, have no background and no resources, and have been trashing the garbage around the universe by an old single-person flying boat. Others explored for money, and I explored for not dying of death. This mission is to send a batch of energy crystals to the Black Hole Space Station, which is simple to hear, but everyone knows what that place is like: the purity of the eyes, the most dangerous belt in the universe, the gravity field near the black hole can tear the iron into pieces, and there are those elusive alien monsters that can basically never come back after going. But I didn't have to choose, and that bastard rock said right. If I don't go, the base will not continue to provide my oxygen supply. Received, ready to go. I replied coldly, cut off the communication, and started the flying boat engine. The broken engine emitted a harsh thorn, and the lights in the flying boat flashed for a few seconds, and they were finally stable. I looked at the endless sea of stars outside the window, and there was only one thought in my heart: come back alive, and one day you will be able to close your mouth with these low-key guys. The flying boat is not big, and there are a lot of tools and spare parts. The only companion is an old smart end, with a bunch of malfunctions displayed on the screen. I knocked it and said with a slight gaze, "Old guy, don't lose the chain this time." Ding, the system has been self-examination, the route has been locked at the Black Hole Space Station, and the expected range is 12 hours. The synthesized sound at the end was emotional, and I curled my lips and leaned on the seat to close my eyes to rest. The flying boat sails automatically, all I can do is wait. But this star field has never been restless. The flying boat just entered the edge of the black hole gravity field, and the police suddenly screamed, and the red light flashed. I slammed my eyes, a twisted gravity wave appeared on the screen, and the flying boat began to shake violently, as if I was being pulled down by something. Damn, what's going on? I slapped the console and tried to switch back the manual control, but the system didn't listen to the command at all. The flying ship's engines passed warnings to jump out one after another, and their speeds got faster and faster, heading straight into the direction of the black hole. Warning! Warning! The flying ship is deviating from the route and approaching the black hole incident vision. It is recommended to abandon the ship immediately. The final sound finally brought a hurricane, but I just wanted to kill my mother when I heard it. Discard the ship? Where can I go if the boat is abandoned in this broken place? Was it swallowed by a black hole or was suffocated to death by a vacuum? Still me. I gritted my teeth and tried to restart the engine with a hurry, but the flying boat was completely out of control. Outside the window, the starlight was twisted into a strange light line, and the darkness of the black hole was like a giant mouth, slowly swallowing me. My heartbeat was so fast that it was about to explode, and there was only one thought in my brain: it's over, I really need to explain this time. At this moment, a dazzling blue light suddenly exploded from the depths of the black hole and hit the flying ship. I closed my eyes subconsciously, but the expected explosion did not come, and the flying boat shook violently, as if it was being grabbed by some force. I opened my eyes and found that the flying boat was parked around the black hole, surrounded by a strange blue light, wrapping me like a protective cover. What's this thing? I was stunned for a few seconds, and then noticed that there was a strange sign on the flying boat screen, like a spiral, and there was a line of small words next to it: Black Hole Energy Core, which has been determined. Defend? What does it mean? My brain didn't react yet, and my body suddenly sank, as if I was being severely pressed by something. Then I lost weight in an instant, and my whole body floated up. The tools and parts in the car also froze, so I hurriedly grabbed the seat and calmed myself. The host's life symbol was detected, and the gravity field control mode was turned on while the energy core was activated. The voice at the end became a little different, and there was a bit more humane flavor in the language. Who is talking? I looked around and found that the sound was still transmitted from the end, but the code on the screen had disappeared, replaced by a blue villain's logo. Ding, I am Xiaoxi, your specialized intelligent assistant. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the black hole energy core. Current ability, gravity field control. You can change the surrounding gravity field through your mind. It is recommended to test the function immediately to meet the threat of the coming soon. Xiaoxi's voice was so cold that it made people crazy. Threat? What threat? I hadn't digested this pile of information yet, and a low roar suddenly came from outside the boat. Through the porthole, I saw several black shadows rolling towards the flying boat. Alien creatures have been initially judged as deep pure touching beasts, with strong attacks, so it is recommended to counterattack immediately. Xiaoxi's voice was calm as if he was reporting weather forecasts, but I heard that my skin was numb. Resistance? What kind of resistance? I didn't even have a broken gun. I was so anxious that I was sweating profusely and wanted to start the flight ship's defense system, but the touching beasts had already hit, and the outer shell of the flight ship was squeaked and might be torn apart at any time. Host, please concentrate your mind, feel the changes in the gravity field, and try to suppress the enemy. Xiaoxi's voice was still not tight or slow. Pressure? You said it's so easy. I replied, but in fact there was no other way, so I could only close my eyes and think about the screen of the monsters flattening them. The next second, a strange feeling surged into my heart, as if an invisible force burst out from my body, and the space around the flying boat seemed to be twisted. Roar, the roar of the touching beast suddenly became sluggish. I opened my eyes and found that the monsters were pressed to the ground by an invisible force, and the touching hands were thrown, unable to move. After a few seconds, their bodies began to deform, as if they were crushed by invisible giant hands, and their inner bodies and black blood were covered with the ground. Bored. As I looked at this scene, there was only one word in my brain: awesome. I lowered my head and looked at my hands, but I was still the broken hands of the old man, but the power I just made it. Congratulations to the host, the first time I used the gravity field to successfully control it. The current energy core level is 1. It is recommended to practice more to improve control accuracy. Xiaoxi's voice finally had a little more rewarding meaning. Is this the black hole energy core? I still didn't react completely, but the bottom in my heart burst out instantly. Washing firewood? Send to death? I'm gonna be. With this ability, who dares to say that I am trash again? I will just press him into a meaty bun. Host, please remind me that the energy of flying ships is about to be consumed. It is recommended to find a safe land point immediately, otherwise it will be in danger. Xiaoxi suddenly came and ignited my fighting spirit and poured cold water into a basin of cold water. Safety point? Where's there a safe place in this ghost place? I gritted my teeth and looked out the window. The gravitational field of the black hole was still pulling the flying boat. A huge space station could be seen from a distance, floating around the black hole, like a broken castle. That should be my destination, the Black Hole Space Station. The route is recalibrated, the target is locked in the space station, and the expected arrival time is 30 minutes. Host, please make preparations. According to data analysis, the space station is currently controlled by a force named CAR, which is extremely unfriendly to foreign visitors. A warning was added to Xiaoxi's voice. Carl? I browed and my brain flashed over Luoka's mouth. When he sent me here, he probably had any contact with this CAR. Maybe he wanted to send me as cannon fodder to the other party for swearing. I want to step on my position. I'm not a bully. I sneered, held the operating lever tightly, and the flying boat was difficult to approach the space station. With this ability to control gravity, I don't believe who can treat me as garbage at will. The flying boat is getting closer and closer to the space station. Through the porthole, I can see clearly the huge building. The surface is full of traces left by the battle, and there are still many flying boat dead bodies floating around. This place is not a good place at first glance, but I don't have time to be afraid. The energy warning lights for the flying boat are already dazzlingly lit and may shut down at any time. Host, we have detected that the space station defense system has been locked. We recommend sending friendly signals to avoid conflicts. Xiaoji reminded. Friendly signal? I was hit by someone as a target when I got there. It's a friendly fart. I gritted my teeth and prepared to be hard, but at this moment, the communication suddenly started and a low and cold voice passed by. Who is here? This is a black hole space station. If you are not allowed to be good at it, don't worry about killing it. The sound was filled with unquestionable pressure, which made people feel unhappy. I snorted coldly, pressed the communication button, and my language was full of tits. I am Lin Hao, here to deliver the goods. Wanna kill me? Ask me if you have that ability first. The opponent was silent for a few seconds, and then the voice sneered, Lin Hao? How dare a little character challenge me? Okay, I will give you a chance, come in. But remember, this is my floorboard. If you dare not listen, I will regret coming to this world. I cut off the communication and the fire in my heart surged up. Carl, it sounds like a guy who thinks he is right. But I didn't have time to think too much, and the flying boat was almost unable to stop, so I had to land tightly. Xiaoji, help me lock the landing platform. Let's go in and meet this big guy. I gritted my teeth and controlled the flying boat to approach the entrance of the space station. There was a voice in my heart telling me that this place was definitely not simple, but I, Lin Hao, will no longer be a wasteland at the mercy of others from today. The flying boat door opened slowly. I took a deep breath and stepped onto this unknown land. The air inside the space station is filled with the smell of iron and motor oil, and the sound of mechanical movements being transmitted from afar. I clenched my fists, felt the force of gravity manipulation in my body, and a sneer appeared on the corner of my mouth. Come on, Carl, and everyone in this broken place. I want to see who can hold me. The moment I stepped out of the boat door, the cold air swelled up on my face, mixed with the smell of iron and burnt, making people feel sick. I looked around. The inside of this black hole space station was even more broken than I thought. The walls on both sides of the corridor were covered with scratches and black burnt marks, as if they had fought countless battles. The low mechanical geeks were hidden away, and a few sharp warnings made the place even more restless. Host, it is recommended to be vigilant. According to data analysis, the environment here is extremely unfriendly to humans, and the enemy's countermeasures may appear at any time. Xiaoji's voice came from the ear machine, but it was still the unrestrained and slow language. Wow, can I not be alert? This place is not a good place at first glance. I curled my lips, clenched my fists, and felt the power of gravity control in my body, and I felt a little confident in my heart. The scene where the touching beasts just killed outside the boat was replayed in my brain. The feeling of crushing the enemy in a thought made people fall into trouble. Just as I was thinking, the metal floor under my feet suddenly shook, as if something heavy was hit on it. I raised my head suddenly and found that there were several figures walking towards me in the corridor that was far away. They were wearing old battle armor, carrying energy guns in their hands, and their eyes were full of bad intentions. Yi, new? It looks quite tender. Where did you get the courage to enter this ghost place? The guy in the head grinned, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. His language was full of picky style. I looked at him coldly without saying a word. This kind of goods is probably Car's subordinates come to find out my bottom line. I was not in the mood to talk to them and asked directly, where's Car? I'm here to deliver the goods, and I don't have time to procrastinate with you. Delivery? Ha, boy, do you think this is where? Have you been traveling or sold for sale? The yellow-toothed man laughed even more wildly, and several followers next to him laughed. He took a step forward, his gun pointed at me, and continued, I want to see the boss, please hand in the road fee first. Leave all the things in your boat, maybe I'm in a good mood and can give you a few more days of life. Don't you pay for the road? I raised my eyebrows and the fire in my heart came up. This helper really slaughtered me as a fat sheep. I sneered, put my hands in my pockets, and my words were filled with disdain. I want to kill something. Okay, let's try it, see if you have that life. The man with yellow teeth was stunned for a moment, obviously not expecting that I would be so tough. His face darkened, and he gritted his teeth and said, looking for death. Give it to me and kill this kid so that he knows whose floor this is. As the voice fell, 2 followers from the side rushed towards me. The energy gun in their hands had begun to accumulate energy. The blue light flashed and 2 beams of light shot directly over. I felt nervous, but I didn't panic. My brain quickly recalled the feeling of just dealing with the touching beast, focused my mind, and tried to change the surrounding gravity field. Bang! The beam of light didn't touch me yet, and the 2 guys suddenly seemed to be severely pressed by something. They lay directly on the ground, and even the guns in their hands were broken. They were trying to get up, but their faces were full of terror, as if they were being held tightly by an invisible big hand, unable to move. What the hell is this? The man with yellow teeth was stunned and took a few steps back. His gun was facing me, and his voice began to tremble. Who are you? Who is the one who delivered the goods? I walked over with a sneer, and with a swipe, the gravity field changed again, and the gun in his hand was directly distorted and deformed, forming a wasteland. He was so scared that his legs were soft, he knelt down and begged for a sweat. Big brother, you're a life. I'm just an errand runner, I don't know anything. Don't know? Then close your mouth. I was in the mood to hear him say nothing. After a moment of thought, he slightly increased the pressure, and he immediately rushed over. The remaining 2 men didn't dare to say anything, and they just lay on the ground and put them to death. Host, it is recommended not to consume too much energy. Gravity field control is currently of low level. Overuse may cause the body to be overly burdened. Xiaoxi's voice is appropriate, with the meaning of a reminder. I know, save some money. I gasped and felt a sense of fatigue in my body, as if I had just run a few kilometers. However, this power is actually very good to use. A few little guys can handle it easily. Who dares to say I am Wuchai? After packing up these guys, I didn't stop and continued walking along the corridor. Xiaoxi guided the direction in the ear machine, saying that based on data analysis, Car's index center should be in the core area of the space station. However, the large area of this place is surrounded by corridors, like a maze, and you can hear strange screams coming from afar, which makes people's head numb. Host, there is energy fluctuation in front of me. It is recommended to be careful. There may be no alien creatures. Xiaoxi's voice fell, and I felt another vibration under my feet. This time it was even more powerful than it was just now, and the whole corridor was shaking. What's the thing? I bowed and accelerated my pace. As soon as I turned a corner, I saw a scene in front of me, which made my pupils suddenly shrink. In the corridor, a huge monster was lying there, with a 3-story height, like a mixture of spiders and rhinos. Its body was covered with black hard shells, and every time it stepped on its 8 legs, cracks were trampled on the floor. Its red eyes stared at me, green mucus dripping from its mouth, and the roar made my ears buzz. Host, data analysis has been completed. This creature is an alien giant earth spider rhino. It has extremely strong attack power and amazing defense. It is recommended to avoid frontal conflicts and find weak points to attack. Xiaoxi's voice was still cold, but I just wanted to roll my eyes when I heard it. Avoid conflicts? This thing is blocked on the road, how to avoid it? I gritted my teeth, quickly stepped back a few steps, and the fast disk in my brain was counting on the countermeasures. It is definitely not possible to fight hard. This guy is not easy to mess with at first sight. He must find opportunities to get some resources and try the limits of the gravity field. The cracked spider rhinoceros didn't give me too much time to think, so I shouted and rushed directly at me. My 8 legs hit the floor and were so fast that I could not stop. I was surprised in my heart, and I was busy concentrating my mind and trying to increase the gravity field around it. Road! the invisible force continued to suppress, and the groundbreaking spider rhino's movements were obviously slower, and his legs were slammed. But this guy didn't stop and continued to rush the gravity field. Damn, this defense is too disproportionate. Host, its weakness is on the abdomen, and the hard shell covers are thinner. It is recommended to change the direction of gravity and expose its weaknesses when it turns. Xiaoxi's voice rose in time. Turn? Try it. I gritted my teeth and changed my mind. This time I was not pressing down, but pulling up, as if I wanted to lift this monster up. Sure enough, the cracked spider rhinoceros was caught off guard, and his body was unbalanced by a force. He flipped his body hard, with his abdomen facing upwards and his feet pierced towards the sky. It's now! I took advantage of the opportunity to rush over, lifted a broken steel tube next to me, concentrated all my strength to suppress the gravity field, and smashed it hard on its abdomen. With the blessing of the gravity field, the steel tube increased sharply and directly pierced its abdomen. The green blood sprayed all over the ground, making people want to vomit. Roar! The cracked spider rhinoceros made a slight scream, and after a few stings, it finally stopped moving. I gasped and wiped my sweat, feeling the strength in my body was drained. Host, congratulations to kill the earth-splitting rhino. It was detected that there is a rare resource dark energy crystal in its body. It is recommended to collect it immediately, which can be used to improve the black hole energy core level. Xiaoxi's voice finally became a little more excited. Can dark crystallize? What a good thing. My eyes lit up, and I couldn't feel tired. I hurried over and pulled the monster's body. Sure enough, I found a black crystal as big as a fist on its abdomen. There was still a faint blue light on the surface. I could feel a warm energy when I held it in my hand. Host, the dark energy crystal has been stored. It is recommended to return to the safe area to absorb energy and improve the gravity field control level. The current body state is close to the limit. Xiaoxi reminded. Okay, let's have a break. I clicked the head, and was about to find a place to hide to absorb energy, but suddenly I heard a few screams coming from afar, as if someone was asking for help. What's the matter? I looked in the direction of the sound and found that in another corridor, several people were surrounded by a group of small strange monsters, looking in danger. They were wearing old exploration suits, and the weapons in their hands had long lost their energy, and their faces were full of hope. Host, it is recommended to protect one's own safety first and do not need to intervene in conflicts with others. Xiaoxi's voice was still so cold, but I couldn't ignore it after hearing it. These people were just ordinary explorers at first glance, and they were probably forced to die in this ghost place. If I don't help me, I will be in trouble one day. Who will come to help me again? Close your mouth, Xiaoxi, I'm sure you'll take care of this. I gritted my teeth, held the rolled steel tube, and slammed over. Hey, you a few, hold on. I shouted, focused my mind, and the gravity field opened instantly, and the group of small monsters were pressed and squeaked, and they were instantly cleared. Several explorers looked at me blankly, as if they had seen a ghost. You, who are you? Lin Hao, one pass. I didn't say much, but solved the last few monsters at will, and turned to look at them. What's wrong with you? Why are you trapped? The man smiled bitterly and wiped the blood from his face. We are here to collect resources, but we were cheated by Car's people. He said that this area is safe. Who knows, it's all monsters. Brother, thank you. If it weren't for you, we would have really explained this today. Car? I raised my eyebrows and the fire in my heart came up again. Sure enough, the mess here was unstoppable to that guy. It seems that not only did he want to use me as cannon fodder, but he also didn't let go of other explorers. 80% of them deliberately released monsters, eliminated evil spirits, and swallowed resources alone. Yes, Car is the master of this. If he doesn't listen, he will send monsters to mess with you. All the resources here have been destroyed by him. We are the lives of working for him. Another young explorer gritted his teeth and felt unwilling to accept it. Working? I won't serve you. I snorted coldly, and I had already recorded the guy like Carl in my heart. Since he doesn't take human life seriously, I don't have to be polite to him. Host, please remind me that the Just War sound may have attracted Car's attention. It is recommended to leave here as soon as possible. Xiaoxi's voice sounded, with a warning. Go? Don't hurry. I grinned and looked at the explorers. A few of you, follow me, let's go find a safe point together, and then talk about Car. I want to see how capable he is to turn this place upside down. Several people looked at each other, although they were a little hesitant, but they finally got the head. They knew that following me, the number was more than a single fight. I took them and continued along the corridor, and the strange screams from my ears came from afar, and I was not much afraid. I just killed the cracked spider rhinoceros and saved several people. This feeling made me feel more and more confident. So what about Carl? I have gravity field control now, and there is also dark energy crystal in my hand. If you dare to mess with me, I will let him know what regret is. But at this moment, the communication suddenly started to explode, and the familiar and evil voice came again. Lin Hao, I'm very busy. Even my pet dared to move, and I saved a few wastes. It seems that I really want to meet you. Carl? I sneered, pressed the communication key, and my language was full of tits. Come on, I'm waiting for you. Don't just talk ruthlessly. If you have the ability, come out now. Let's talk in person. The other side was silent for a few seconds, and then a low smile came. Okay, there's a thing. Lin Hao, I'll give you a chance to come to the core area to find me. But remember, if you dare to step in, don't want to go out alive. The communication was cut. I clenched my fists tightly, and a sneer appeared on the corner of my mouth. Core area? Okay, I will meet you and see how many pounds you call the overlord you are. The voice of Carl's guy was still ringing in his ears, carrying a cold snap, causing the fire in my heart to rise. Core area? Want to let me die? I want to see if you have the ability to keep me. I clenched my fists and turned to look at the few explorers who had just saved me. They still had a shocked expression on their faces, but there was a lot of hope in their eyes. Hey, you guys, you've heard it. I said in a deep voice, with no doubt about his temperament, that bastard Carl wants to kill me, and probably won't let you go. If you want to survive, just go to the core area with me, let's make a fortune with him. The older man was stunned for a moment and spoke with a hesitation. Brother, Car is not easy to mess with. He has several armed forces under his command, and the blessing of Yixing technology. We are afraid we will die. Send to death? How do you know if you don't try? I sneered and patted my chest. I can kill that big monster just now, and I can kill Car's lackey. If you don't dare to go, I don't plead for it. Look for it and hide, but don't expect someone to save you again. Several people glanced at each other and had their faces twitched, but they finally gritted their teeth and pointed. That year, the little explorer clutched the broken knife in his hand and said fiercely, "Don't do it." I've long seen Carl bewildered. Why can he dominate resources and let us be a horse? Follow you, maybe you can even make a living. Okay, there's something. I grinned and said to Xiaoxi, give me the fastest route to plan, let's go straight to the core area and don't waste time. Dang, the route has been locked. The core area is located in the center of the space station, and the scheduled trip is 2 hours. There may be Carl's patrol team and alien creatures along the way. It is recommended to be vigilant and allocate energy reasonably. Xiaoxi's voice was as cold as ever. I understand, take the way. I snatched my hand and walked along the corridor with a few people. The environment here is still so stressful, with iron and fishy smell mixed in the air, and the metal floor under the feet squeaks out from time to time, as if it will collapse at any time. But I was not much afraid, but I felt inexplicably excited. Carl wants to play? Then play with him to the end. I haven't walked for long, and as Xiaoxi said, there was a rapid sound of footsteps ahead, and there was also a buzzing sound of energy gun charging. I raised my hand to signal the few people behind me to stop, and said in a low voice, if you have feelings, hide well and don't make any sound. They hurriedly rushed to the corner of the wall. When I looked out, I found a team of fully equipped men coming here, with more than a dozen people. The head was wearing black war armor and carrying a heavy energy cannon on his shoulder, which was extremely powerful. Lin Hao, do you think you can hide it? The boss has ordered to catch you and double the money. Brothers, search for me, don't let this kid run away. The guy in the head voice was low, with a murderous aura. Sales? It seems that Carl really values me. I sneered and turned to the few people behind me. Don't move, I'll get them done. Brother, are you going alone? The young man in the morning was worried, but I still blocked him back with a glare. What's the matter? Just watch it. I didn't explain much, took a deep breath, focused my mind, and felt the power of the gravity field in my body. Although it was a bit exhausting to fight in a row, the energy of the dark energy crystallization has not yet been absorbed, so it should be able to hold back this wave. The team was approaching, and the light of the energy gun was flashing in the corridor and could open fire at any time. I didn't give them a chance, and with a direct thought, the gravity field around me instantly increased, like an invisible giant hand pressing down hard. Bang bang bang. Several guys were caught off guard and were directly pressed to the ground. The weapons in their hands were broken and screamed. The leader's reaction was quick, and he couldn't fall down, but his face turned blue, and he gritted his teeth and shouted, "What the hell is this? Are you a monster? Monster? I'm just a delivery." I snorted coldly, walked over slowly, and increased the pressure with my hands. The guy finally couldn't bear it. He slapped his knees and knelt down heavily, and even the heavy cannons on his shoulders hit the ground, making a loud noise. Bow life. We just listen to life. He was sweating heavily, his voice trembling, and there was no such a slight sensation just now. Just act? Then tell me, what are car fucking in the core? Don't talk to me, I will just press you down if you say something wrong. I squatted down and stared into his eyes, my breath as cold as ice. He swallowed and said tremblingly, Boss Carl is studying black hole energy. He wants to use alien technology to extract the energy of the black hole, create a super weapon, and control the entire star field. We are all forced to sell our lives. Super weapon? Control the star domain? I raised my eyebrows and my heart skipped a beat. This guy is really not an ordinary ambitious person. It is hard to use all the explorers as cannon fodder. It turns out that he wants to swallow the power of the black hole and dominate this starry sea. Host, according to data analysis, Carr's plan is likely to cause the black hole to lose control, causing a large area of gravity to collapse, and the entire star domain will be destroyed. It is recommended to stop its movement immediately. Xiaoxi's voice was correct, and there was a little more anxious in his language. Stop it? Must be. I gritted my teeth and stood up, looking at the head guy. I'll ask you finally, how can I leave the core area? How many people are there still guarding it? He didn't dare to be confused, and Jade pointed in a direction tremblingly. Walk straight, pass through 3 large halls and is the core area. There are about 50 guards, and there are also several fighting robots. The boss has an energy shield around him, which is particularly difficult to deal with. Okay, you know what you know. I clicked the head and swung it with my hands, which slightly reduced the pressure, but they still couldn't move, so as not to make trouble for the helper again. When he turned around, the few explorers behind him were already stunned. That year, he said loudly, "Brother, your ability is too insignificant." Just then, it made them unable to lift their heads. Stop talking, keep up. I was in a state of confusion and continued to move forward with them. Carr's plan is even more crazy than I thought. It's not just a personal grudge. If he really gets out of control of the black hole energy, don't say that this space station will have to be finished. No matter how hard Lin Hao, can't let this happen. Following the path that the guy just pointed out, we passed through several broken halls and encountered several small-scale patrol teams on the way, but I easily crushed them with the gravity field. Several visitors looked at me more and more disagreeably, as if they had seen some amazing monster, but I had no time to pay attention to them, and I was thinking about how to get rid of Carl. Finally, when you walked to the entrance of the core area, a huge metal door was stalked in front of you, with blue energy light flashing on it, like some kind of protection barrier. There were more than 10 guards standing in front of the door. The weapons in their hands were obviously high-end goods. 2 battle robots more than 3 meters high were parked next to them. The red electronic eyes swept over, making people's skin numb. Host, the energy barrier was detected, and the strength was extremely high. It is recommended to find weak points or use dark energy crystal to break through. Xiaoxi's voice sounded. Can dark crystal be crystallized? Try it. I took out the black crystal from my backpack and held it in my hand. I felt a heat flowing into my body. The feeling of fatigue just faded away, and the whole person seemed to be full of strength. Hey, you guys, back off, don't be affected. I turned to the explorers, and then concentrated my mind, injected the dark energy crystallized energy into the gravity field, and pressed it hard towards the metal door. Room. The invisible power rushed out like a wave, and the energy barrier trembled violently, making a harsh buzzing sound. Then there was a click and a hole was cracked. The guard in front of the door screamed in surprise and shot, but the beam was distorted by the gravity field before it touched me and turned directly. Go on, kill them. I shouted, and rushed over, and the gravity field was maximized. Those guards and robots could not resist it at all, and were pressed into a few seconds. When the 2 robots tried to reverse the picture, the energy cannon lighted up, and I forced it into a pile of waste irons and sparked 4 times. Boke, brother, you are not a human being. The young man was stunned by the sight of the light visitor, but his hands quickly followed, helping to solve the problem of several missed guardians. After solving this wave of people, the metal door was completely open, revealing a huge control room inside. There was a flashing instrument panel and floating screen. In the middle, there was a tall figure wearing a long black robe and a half-metal mask on his face, with a cold look like a knife. Lin Hao, it's true that he has some ability to come here. Carl's voice was low and slow, with a slight mockery, but do you think you're just swearing about this little trick? Can you move me? I can't move, can I know if I try it? I walked in with a sneer, waved my hand, and pressed the gravity field towards him, wanting to try the deep cleansing of this guy first. But the next second, I was shocked. When the gravity field touched him, it seemed to be stuck by something, and a low bird was released, which was then directly opened. The air beside him was slightly distorted, it was obviously the energy shield that was working. A little trick to carve the skull. My shield is made of black hole energy. Your strength is not enough. Carl snorted coldly and raised his hand to slap. Several robotic arms in the control room suddenly started and smashed at me, with speeds far behind. Damn it, it's really fun. I gritted my teeth and quickly adjusted the gravity field, and forced my mechanical arm to tilt, but I was still wiped, and my arm hurt a little. Several explorers behind him wanted to help, but they couldn't get in the way, so they could only hide in the corner and shouted, "Be careful." Host, it is recommended to focus on the shield's weakness and concentrate energy to attack a little, otherwise it will be difficult to break through. Xiaoxi's voice sounded, giving me a way of thinking. Concentrate? Okay. I gritted my teeth, clamped the dark energy, gathered all the power into a small area of the gravity field, and pressed hard on the center of the Carl shield. This time, the shield finally reacted, with small cracks appearing on the surface, making a harsh sound. It's a little interesting, but it's still too tender. Carl's face changed slightly, but he was still calm and he suddenly pressed a device on his wrist. The entire control room suddenly vibrated, the floor cracked, and several fighting robots rose from below. At the same time, the shield beside him shone brightly, and he forced my gravity field to the top. Host, energy consumption is too fast, it is recommended to retreat regularly and look for other warfare. Xiaoxi's voice was warning, but I heard it but did not retreat. Retreat? What a joke! I gritted my teeth, feeling that the energy in my body was about to be seen, but the fire in my heart was even stronger. The guy Carl not only wants to kill me, but also wants to destroy the entire star field. If I don't kill him today, How can I be worthy of my ability? At this moment, a sudden hurried sound of footsteps came from behind me. I turned around and was stunned. Several familiar figures came in, wearing old adventure clothes and holding simple weapons in their hands. The one I led was Cairn, the opponent I had in the neighboring star domain. Lin Hao, I didn't expect you to be here. Cairn grinned, and his original enemies were gone, but he was more impressed. We heard Car's plan. This guy wanted to destroy the entire star field, and no one could survive. I used to be blind and couldn't get along with you. Now we are in the hands of our team, kill this bastard. I was stunned for a few seconds, then smiled. Okay, you have a kind of thing. Let's go together, don't let this guy have a chance to breathe. With the addition of Cairn, the battle changed instantly. Although they are average, they are crowded, so I have helped me to control those fighting robots so that I can focus on dealing with Car. I took a deep breath and squeezed the dark energy crystallized energy to the extreme. The gravity field pressed his shield again. This time I finally heard a crisp cracking sound, and a big hole broke on the surface of the shield. Impossible. Car's face changed drastically, and he finally showed a panic, but then he gritted his teeth and shouted, Lin Hao, do you think you will win this way? I have the last move, please accompany me to the ground. He suddenly pressed a red button on the console, and the entire control room drama vibrated violently, and the alarm sounded sharply, and a line of large words appeared on the screen. The black hole energy extraction program is activated, and it takes 5 minutes to reverse. Host, Car has activated the energy extraction device. If not stopped, the black hole will lose control. It is recommended to destroy the core equipment immediately. Xiaoxi's voice became quick. Bad? I'll smash it. I gritted my teeth and rushed towards the console, but Carl had calmed down again, leaning in front of me, his eyes full of crazy. Want to stop me? It's too late. This star field will be mine. He growled, and the device in his hand lit up red, as if preparing for the last try. I sneered, and the last force in my body exploded. The gravity field pressed him with all its strength, and shouted to Cayenne and others, hurry up, help me hold him down for a few seconds. As the battle entered the whitening, the air in the control room almost solidified, and every second seemed particularly long. Carl's madness, the threat of the black hole, and the collapse that was about to come, all of this made me breathless. But I know in my heart that I must win this battle. The air in the control room seemed to be ignited, making people breathless. The guy Carl stood in front of me, his eyes full of crazy, and the red flash device buzzed in his hand, as if he could burst out the power to destroy the sky and the earth at any time. The warnings around were as harsh as if they were about to dig into their brains. The numbers on the screen jumped second by second, reminding me that there was not much time left for me. Lin Hao, don't stumble. Once the black hole energy is extracted, this star field is my world. You are only worthy of my footsteps. Carl gritted his teeth and cut, his voice full of pride. The energy fluctuations around him became stronger and stronger, and the air began to distort. Treading the stone? I will let you know today, who is garbage. I bit my teeth and the last piece of force in my body was squeezed out, and the gravity field was like an invisible wall, pressing towards him hard. The moment I broke through his shield had consumed most of my energy, but now I don't have time to hesitate, so I must be determined. Still. The gravity field collided with his energy shield again, and a loud noise came out, and the entire control room was shocked. The surface of his shield was cracking more and more, as if it would shatter at any time, but he still did not retreat, with the pressure on his head, and the device in his hand was even more radiant. Host, energy is about to be consumed. It is recommended to concentrate the final force to destroy the core equipment, otherwise the consequences of the black hole losing control will be unbelievable. Xiaoxi's voice burst into the ears, and he rarely brought a sense of anxiety. I know, close my mouth and don't make trouble. I growled, and there was only one thought in my brain: kill Car and smash the broken machine. Behind me, Cayenne and several explorers were trying their best to hold back the fighter robots and fight for time. Although they were not very capable, they were all red-eyed and relying on their number of advantages to force several robots to retreat. "Lin Hao, hurry up. We won't be able to hold it for long." Kyan shouted at me with a broken energy knife, full of sweat, and a few blood marks were hanging on his body. "Don't worry, I'll get it done right away." I gritted my teeth and replied, locking Carl's eyes tightly. The force of the gravity field was suppressed to the extreme, like an invisible pointed spear, piercing his shield at the weakest part. Finally, with a crisp click, the energy shield finally shattered and turned into a ray of light and dissipated slightly. "Impossible. Why does my shield?" Carl's face changed. Before he finished speaking, I took advantage of the opportunity to knock him over and kicked him in the chest. He caught off guard and stumbled back a few steps, almost quitting the device in his hand. "Go to die." I growled, seized the opportunity, and with a thought, the gravity field directly pressed against him. Without the protection of the shield this time, he seemed to be pinched by an invisible big hand, his face instantly swelled, and his knees slammed and he knelt heavily on the ground. "Lin Hao, you dare." He wanted to be stubborn, but the sound had stopped and the force of lifting his head was almost gone. I sneered. Without giving him a chance to breathe, I rushed to him and slammed the device in his hand and slammed it hard on the ground. The thing emitted a harsh and sharp bird, and then the light dimmed, as if it had finally lost its spirit. "Host, the device has been damaged, but the core equipment is still in operation. There are only 2 minutes left when the price is reversed. It is recommended to destroy the energy and extract the core immediately." Xiaoxi's voice sounded again, and his language was extremely anxious. "Damn, it's not over yet." I turned around and looked at the huge equipment in the center of the control room. The thing looked like a huge metal ball, with strange blue light on the surface, and countless pipes were lying around it. The energy fluctuations made people's skin numb. The on-screen reversal has jumped to 1 minute and 50 seconds, and the time is extremely tight. "Brothers, help me hold these broken machines, I'll smash that thing." I shouted at Karen and the others, then rushed towards the equipment. Carl was still lying on the ground. Although he had no fighting power, his eyes were full of resentment. He gritted his teeth and said, "Lin Hao, do you think you can stop me?" "It's too late. Once this energy extraction is completed, no one can stop it." "Can't hold it? I'll show you today." I ignored him, concentrated his last force, tightened the dark energy crystal in his hand, poured all the energy into the gravity field, and pressed the core of the metal ball hard. Room. The invisible force hit the equipment like a heavy blow, and the surface was sunken, causing a harsh explosion. The blue light began to flash violently, as if it was going to explode at any time. I gritted my teeth and stepped up my strength again. There was only one thought in my brain: I must smash this broken thing. "Host, the equipment structure is about to collapse, but the energy fluctuation is too strong. It is recommended to withdraw quickly, otherwise it may be affected." Xiaoxi's warning sound came out, but I could not understand this. The energy in my body has been almost dried, but my hands still haven't stopped. Removing the fart, now I can't completely withdraw? I gritted my teeth and snatched another blow. Finally, with a deafening sound, the core of the metal ball cracked suddenly, and the blue light instantly went out. Then a strong shock wave burst out, causing me to fly out. "Lin Hao!" Kyan's voice came from afar, but I could no longer hear it. My brain buzzed and my body slammed heavily on the wall of the control room, so painful that I almost didn't pass. The surrounding police finally stopped, and the on-screen reversal was frozen in the last few seconds, then turned into a black screen. "Host, the energy extraction program has ended, the black hole is stable, and the crisis has been lifted. Your life is at a low value, so it is recommended to rest immediately." Xiaoxi's voice sounded a little gentle, but I only felt that I was exhausted and I had no movement to move my fingers. "Damn. I've finally got it done." I gasped, sat on the ground leaning against the wall, and wiped the sweat from my face. There was a group of people in the control room, and all the fighter robots became wastelands. Carl was still lying there, unable to move, and his eyes were full of unwillingness, but he could no longer speak hard. Kyan and several explorers came over, and their faces were all the blessings that happened after the disaster. That year, I squatted down and patted my shoulder, with my voice in my mouth. "Brother, you are so awesome. If you don't have you, we will all be done." Carl, this bastard, finally fell. "What's the matter? Help me up." I grinned. Although I was so tired, I felt a sense of excitement in my heart. Carl's tragedy was shattered and the black hole crisis was lifted. I've done all this with one hand. Who dares to say I am Wuchai? Kyan walked over and looked at me. His words were full of admiration. "Lin Hao, I used to be blind, but I couldn't get along with you. Now I am convinced. Whoever comes to your ability must call you the boss. From now on, this space station will hear you." "Hear me?" I was stunned for a moment, then laughed. "Okay, from today on, this broken place will be my floor. Carl helps the lackey. Whoever does not agree will get rid of it. If you dare to make trouble again, I will beat him directly." Carl heard this and his face was so angry that he was tilted, but he was speechless and could only be dragged to one side by a few explorers, tied up and asked slowly. I stood up, and although my whole body was still sore, the bottom in my heart was unprecedentedly strong. "Host, congratulations on hitting Walker and successfully controlling the Black Hole Space Station. It is recommended to integrate resources and improve the energy core level. In the future, you can explore a wider star domain." Xiaoxi's voice sounded, and there was a little more award in his language. "Exploring the star field? A good idea." I clicked my head, walked to the huge porthole in the control room, and looked at the endless sea of stars outside the window. A few days later, the order of the space station was reorganized. Car's remaining strength must surrender and be taken away, and this place is ultimately no longer a cannibalistic land. Those who were once squeezed to find out now looked at me with admiration and shouting "Boss Lin" in their mouths, which was a clear contrast to the guy who mocked me. Speaking of the guy who laughed at me, I haven't forgotten the bastard's mouth and face at the base. After the news was sent back, he said that he heard that I had become the new overlord of the space station, and he was completely stunned and said that it was not smooth. Some of the elite explorers who looked down on me at first were now coming to battalion and wanted to hang out with me, but I was right in the process and directly let them fly away. "Boss Lin," a message was posted on the base, saying that he wanted to cooperate with you to develop resources in this star field, and the conditions were open to you. Kyan came over with a telegraph, full of smiles in his language. That guy Luok also recorded a video of apologizing, saying that he had no idea about Mount Tai before. "Please don't remember villains." Apology? It's too late. I snorted coldly and sniffed. "Tell them that resources cooperation is okay, but I only talk to reliable people. Don't want to save a penny from me." Kyan clicked on it and went down to make arrangements. I turned around and continued to look at the sea of stars outside the window, feeling indescribable in my heart. From a waste firewood that was slaughtered by someone as garbage, to the entire star field remembering my Lin Hao's name. Although it's worth it all the way. Host, I detected unknown energy fluctuations around the star domain, which are suspected to be a new alien civilization trace. Have you formulated an exploration plan? Xiaoxi's voice suddenly rose, and a strange star picture was displayed on the screen. Unknown civilization? My eyes lit up, and a smile appeared on the corner of my mouth. Okay, I have already calmed my feet on this sea of stars. It's time to go to a farther place to see it. Xiaoxi, prepare for a flight and set a route. I want the whole universe to know that Lin Hao's name cannot be apologized. After saying that, I turned around and walked towards the flying boat. My steps were steady and fast. The stars outside the window came in and reflected behind me, as if they were leading me avenue to endless possibilities. The Black Hole Space Station is just the starting point, and the real journey is still ahead. I, Lin Hao, swear to dominate this starry sea and let all those who once looked down on me shut up. In the future, there is a wider universe waiting for me to conquer.